Good evening, councillors. Would you like to sit? Don't want. I should believe it now. Yes. Doesn't matter. No, you know, what's that in stamping? In the absence of my chaplain, the Reverend Hills Corcoran, we have tonight the Harbour team curate, Tom Grant, and he's going to lead us in prayer. So will you just stand for his prayer, please?
Good evening. I'm going to bring a reflection tonight on peacemaking. We live in a world which seems increasingly fragmented and uncertain. A world where tensions seem to be rising, where fighting seems to be increasing, where trust is breaking down. And I want us today, before proceeding with business, to begin to think about what it means to be peacemakers. Undoubtedly, everyone here wants what's best for their communities, and we all long for a more peaceful world. We may have many different ways of doing that and achieving it, and maybe that's the role of politics. But leaving politics aside for a moment, I'm reminded of what Jesus said in the Bible about peacemakers. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." And on your tables, there is a quote from Shane Claiborne, who is an activist in America, where he talks about what peacemaking is and isn't. He writes, "Peace is not just the absence of conflict. It is about the presence of justice." Martin Luther King Jr. even distinguished between the devil's peace and God's true peace. A counterfeit peace which exists when people are pacified or distracted or beat up or tired of fighting so that all seems calm. But true peace does not exist until there is justice, restoration, forgiveness. Peacemaking doesn't mean passivity. It is the act of interrupting justice without mirroring injustice. The act of disarming evil without destroying the evildoer. The act of finding a third way that is neither fight nor flight, but the careful, arduous pursuit of reconciliation and justice. It is about a revolution of love that is big enough to set both the oppressed and the oppressor free. So before I say a prayer, let's take a moment of quiet just to think, where are the places in my community which needs me to be a peacemaker? Who in my community can I help to bring justice and reconciliation to? Let's take a brief moment to reflect. Prayer from St. Francis of Assisi. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Lord, make us an instrument of your peace. Amen.
Thank you. Councillors, I'd be grateful if you'd continue standing because I have some sad news for you. Councillor Bill Lickorish, who served the council for many years, died last Friday. He was chairman 2004 to 2005, and he was the chairman of planning as well for many years. And I think we all remember him well. And I shall be attending his funeral representing the council. So I think we should stand for a minute in silence to remember him. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please sit down. Democratic Services are now starting the webcast. While that is being done, can I remind everyone in attendance that if the fire alarm sounds, you should leave for the nearest fire exit, which may be behind you, and gather at the top of Mill Hill Car Park. Welcome to this meeting. I'm Councillor Johnson, Chairman of Council, and I will be chairing this evening's meeting. I would ask our visitors tonight, and it's good to see so many in the public gallery, if you would please respect our constitution rules, which do not allow for interruption from the public gallery or disturbances of any kind. Thank you. And can I remind the councillors present to use the microphones when speaking and not speak too close to the microphone. I'd like to remind everyone present to use the microphones when speaking and not to speak too close to the microphone to maintain the sound quality. No.
Right, it's on, but it's just not loud.
Yeah. They can't hear you.
Chairman, shall we try a different microphone and see if people can hear that? It might be that you have one of the devices that isn't working clearly. I don't. Can you hear? The public gallery can hear that, Madam Chairman.
Can you hear me now?
It's not.
Try that there. Can you all hear me? Yes, yes. Back row. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So don't speak too close to the microphone. That's our rule to maintain sound quality. Only 2 microphones in addition to mine can be used at the same time. And please make sure your electronic devices are switched to silent and notifications muted. Thank you. Our first agenda item is apologies for absence. I have received apologies from Councillor Grafton Reid and Councillor Bateman. Are there any other apologies? No. Thank you very much. I remind you all also to sign the attendance sheet if possible, before the meeting starts. And if it's after the meeting starts, you should put the time that you arrive. And if you leave, you should put the time when you leave on there too. You cannot vote any business for which consideration has already started before you leave. Item 2 on the agenda is my announcements. And my first announcement is of the events I attended, which I'm required to do. Since last council, I have represented us at 9 events, all very different. I would like to mention a few. On the 24th of September, I opened the Great Bowden Festival, and that was a day crammed with activity, all organised by volunteers from the community. On the 14th of October, I opened the Scraptoft Community Hub, an excellent and much needed facility for residents in that area. The facility offers welcoming, spacious and adaptable spaces for everyone. On the 25th of October, I attended the funeral of a Lubbenham man who had been a church warden at All Saints Lubbenham and a loyal and active member of the Market Harborough branch of the Royal British Legion. And on October the 29th of October, I attended with my consort the High Sheriff's Justice Service in St Mary de Castro Church in Leicester. It's worth noting too that on the 2nd of October, I was delighted to welcome the High Sheriff of Leicestershire, Mrs Henrietta Chubb JP, to the district of Harborough. She had expressed an interest in visiting us, particularly to learn about the work of our district's volunteers. Representatives of the many volunteer groups gathered to meet her. It was also an opportunity to publicly thank our volunteers for their tremendous contribution to the good of our district. The High Sheriff thanked those she met for a very interesting and enjoyable day. The other point I want to make within my announcements is that I am moving item 11 of your agenda papers to become the new 7. I know there's significant public interest in item 11, and I can say that maybe a proposal will be made to defer it. And I'm now asking for a proposer for that to be moved. You can move it. To move it, yeah. Councillor Knowles.
I'm happy to move the rearrangement of the agenda, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. I'm going to have a seconder. Councillor Asher, thank you very much. Thank you. And so we need to vote on that. So can I have a show of hands then, please? That's unanimously carried, I think. Yes. Thank you. Right. Find my papers. The third item on our agenda is declarations of members' interests. Councillor Bannister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In relation to item 11, which is the new item 7, I am also a county councillor, but any views that I may express when we debate that particular item are entirely in relation to my capacity as the Harborough District Council Ward member for the Dunton Ward. And a second declaration of interest, again in relation to the same agenda item, I wish to notify the Council that I have very recently taken up part-time employment in the office of Alberto Costa MP. And again, if I were to express any views on that particular agenda item, they are my views and not that of Mr. Costa.
Thank you. Are there any more declarations of interest? Yes, Councillor King.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just to say that as also a member of Leicestershire County Council, the same declaration to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Page.
And the same goes for me, thank you.
And Councillor Hammond.
Yes, Chair. Those that have got a good memory will know that I declared an interest last time we debated the Statement of Common Ground. Since that time, I've had advice regarding this, and it seems that my interest is not at this stage. It will be towards the end of the harbour plan, or when there's some planning coming forward, not just the Statement of Common Ground. So therefore, I won't be declaring an interest at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dalton.
Ditto, a member of Leicestershire County Council. Thank you. Chair.
And Councillor Wellband.
Yes, that's Councillor Bannister. I work for the MP Neil O'Brien involved on this campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's all. Thank you very much for that. Moving to item 4, the minutes. I'd like to be able to I will ask if this is thought to be a true record. Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm happy to move this as a true record,
Right.
and I think Councillor Woodywis is going to second it, so that's to make life easier for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we need a seconder for that as well.
Councillor Woodwis,
Councillor Woodwis, thank you very much. Thank you. Right, we can sign those now. Moving to item 5, report from the leader, Councillor Knowles. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, my report is on the table, and I believe it's also been sent out electronically. It was sent out earlier today, and the paper copies, as I say, on the table. I don't propose to read it out. The copies are there, and if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, Councillor No.
Thank you, Leader, for your report. It unfortunately wasn't sent out earlier today. It actually came out very shortly before this meeting, so a lot of people like myself didn't actually get an opportunity to read it until we arrived here this evening. And I know this was always one of your bugbears in the past, so if we could just ask you to ensure that members do receive the report in a timely fashion so as they can review it beforehand. Thank you. Regarding the parish council meetings, I thought this sounded like a good initiative, and when I actually wrote what I put down here, I thought you were actually personally going to do all 40 of those, plus of those meetings. But I see in your report you mentioned it's been shared between cabinet members, so is that not the case? Anyway, what I was just going to ask was if you could advise of the timescale for getting around all those parishes, and also if you could issue us with a schedule of these visits in order to make sure that all members for those parishes are actually able to attend and aware of the dates of those. The second thing is sort of links into that, and it's about the parish liaison meeting. I was surprised to see that this has now been run by Leicestershire and Rutland Association of Local Councils. This wasn't something any of us were aware of, and we were actually wondering, was there any member involvement in the making of this decision? Also, what are the costs of this, and what do we see as being the benefits to the authority and to the parishes of that? The other thing that concerned me is that the very short notice that has been given to parish councils about the date of this meeting. So I sincerely hope there is a good attendance. Christmas car parking charges, sure the residents will be very grateful about that. But what we will look forward to seeing is a report on the financial impact on the loss of parking revenue over the Christmas period. And also be interested to see if it does actually increase footfall within the towns from any monitoring that's undertaken. So if that could be fed back, that would be really useful. The question I had to ask around that is, why are we asking people to get a ticket to actually put on the car? I know it's because we're saying short stay car parks, it's 4 hours, long stay, it's all day. But I was just thinking about, there must be costs incurred with actually printing off tickets, and also the environmental impact of actually printing off those tickets. Another question I have regarding car parking. I actually noticed myself the other week when I used the Pay by Phone app, is that there seems to be an additional 10p charge applied to that app now for car parking within the car park. So instead of £1.50, which is what I usually pay when I use the Pay by Phone app, it actually came up at £1.60 the other Saturday when I parked in time. I haven't heard any word go out about the changes to this, why it had happened or anything else. So I just wondered if you could let us know about that as well, please. The green grants, which people may remember, the last administration put in place was
Excuse me, Councillor Nunn, is that in the leader's report? Green grants?
No.
Well, I'm afraid you have to stick to the items in the report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, there is one more thing, whether or not I'm allowed to say it or not. I will obviously find out.
Councillor.
6 months ago, Councillor Noel stood here and said that he would like to be open and transparent with us. And therefore, I was wondering why the public was still not aware of any agreement between the coalition parties.
That's
like what they
report
had done.
by the councillor. I remind all the councillors that if you're asking a question on the leader's report, you have to stick to the report, the content. That is in the Constitution. Yes?
If I can just come back on that, how can we actually stick to the leader's report when we didn't receive the leader's report until a short while before the council and didn't actually have time to read it?
Subject altogether, Councillor Nunn. Councillor King?
Yeah, Chairman, as the previous leader, I've just listened to what you've said with incredulity. I've never heard such a ruling from the chair of the council that you could only ask a question about what is in what I would describe as very slim pickings in the leader's report.
Thank you.
Considering the very extensive information that was supplied during our tenure, my tenure, and previous leaders.
Yes,
so I think it's absolutely outrageous. And I don't recall ever reading that in the Constitution. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Yeah, I will. Thank you.
My assistant on the right is going to state why. Wrong.
Thank you, Councillor King. The councillors are all aware that we have council procedurals which we should follow. The fact that they haven't previously perhaps been adhered to strongly doesn't mean that the change in procedure is wrong. In terms of items on the agenda, such as the leader's report, it is restricted to what is in that report. And I might remind members that most other authorities would never have a written report from the leader. Again, this is something that Harborough has done, which is markedly different to other authorities. Very often, the leader will provide a verbal report and you would be asking your questions based on that verbal report. Now, this is something that I would encourage everyone to get involved in when the Constitution is reviewed. You may wish to have input into those sorts of things to make sure that the process that you are adopting reflects how you want the practice to be. But as it stands at the moment, for the efficient running of the meeting, we would ask people to deal with the issues that are on the agenda in the way that they are on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor James.
Thank you, Chair. It's just with regard to the water companies. I don't know whether this information is coming very recently or whether I missed it as a proposer of the motion. If the officers could kindly send me a copy of the reply from the water company, which I think is Severn Trent. I'd like to see that because there's a number of issues with regard to Severn Trent that they seem to be one of the worst offenders for river pollution. And I think I've read somewhere where it's suggesting if they want us to clean the rivers up, it's going to cost another £156 a year on the water rates. So I would be interested in reading the response from Severn Trent as soon as possible, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bannister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With regard to questions of the leader, I'm only really interested in what this council has been adopting for all the time that I've been on the council and for years before that. Let other councils deal with it how they want to deal with it, but we have our constitution, and if we ask for a written report and one is delivered in a timely fashion, then I would hope that the leader would continue that convention. My questions to the leader are not within his report, and I fully understand that we have a late report and the leader has been greatly distracted on other important matters. But I'm wanting to raise the issues of the Fielding Palmer Hospital in Lutterworth and the Hinkley National Rail Freight interchange.
I'm sorry.
I'm asking if the leader would be prepared to allow me to ask questions in relation to those two topics.
No, I'm afraid if it's not in the report, Councillor Bannister, I'm afraid you'll have to raise your question elsewhere.
I'm asking if, through you, Madam Chair, the leader would be prepared to...
What you should have done, no, I'm not prepared to ask the leader to respond because we're sticking to the rules. And if you wanted to put a question in, you could have done to this council. Thank you, Councillor Bannister.
Point of order, Chairman, please.
Councillor Groves.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Sorry to interject. I know that point of orders do come first. Could I just ask for a quick ruling, please? There have been two members tonight who've interrupted you, Chairman, while you've been speaking. And also, I believe the Constitution does specifically say that if the Chairman speaks, the member must not. Could I please ask for that advice before we have more members speaking over you, please, Chairman? Thank you.
That provision in the council procedure rules that members should not speak over the chair and should stop talking when she starts talking. You were all issued with a member briefing note, I believe, last week in relation to the conduct of proceedings, and there isn't really anything else I can say on that. So I would just ask all members to respect the ruling of the chair as and when. If you have an issue with that, then you may deal with that after the fact.
Thank you. Councillor Sarfas.
They know the rules and they need to stop messing around. Let us get on with the meeting as what the agenda is.
Sarfas, that is not in the leader's report.
I'm just saying that it...
Get to your point if you have a question. Councillor King.
Yes, Chairman. So sticking to the content of the leader's very slim report, I want to just ask a couple of questions of the leader, which hopefully he'll be able to answer. So the first is regarding the, and my colleague talked about this earlier, this public engagement event that he hosted at his colleague Scraptop Parish Council. I did ask a question last week about whether there was a schedule and whether as ward members, if that happened, we were going to get notified or invited to said meetings. I still haven't had a reply. I wonder if the leader can confirm if there is a meeting, for example, in the Kibworth ward, he'll be inviting the Kibworth ward councillors to attend that meeting with the relevant parish councils. The second thing is just about the car parking funds. Well, obviously the car parking fund, as say, is actually a huge surplus fund anyway. So what I'm a little curious as to what this identified surplus is, and given that there is a very substantial surplus in the car parking account anyway, and if, as my colleague said earlier, is there going to be a full report of the effect of providing free parking on Saturdays in the 4 weeks before, in 4 weekends, 4 Saturdays in December, so we can understand and evaluate whether it is actually good, best value for money to actually give free parking on 4 Saturdays in December or not. And we're going to actually look at that instead of it just being at the behest of the leader, as it obviously was this year. But thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor King. Councillor Moder.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say I completely agree with you that we should all be respectful and we shouldn't talk over anybody. But I also think that it should be noted that this meeting started late. Everybody in the gallery, the public, were here on time. And I think we owe it to them because they've probably all spent a day working. They've rushed here to watch and to witness a meeting that really ought to go ahead on time and conduct itself appropriately. Now, the questions that have been put forward are in the public interest. Now, if the leader isn't picking up on the public interest, there's something not right here. And that's all I've got to say.
Councillor Moder, I was aware that it was late and I was not happy about the situation. I think we have an explanation.
So there was a technical issue, as you were all aware, because you were all in the room waiting for it to start. Because we wanted to live stream to engage with the wider audience, not just those present, we needed to make sure that the technology was working before we commenced the meeting. So that was the reason for it not starting on time, which I believe was explained to you. Now, with regard to this is not about the leader's report. If you've got some issues or you have any complaints, please forward them to me and I will take account of how this has been administered and make sure that any future meetings have improvements made. Thank you.
No, Councillor Moder, I'm not taking any more on that. Councillor Bannister, your mic is on. And unless it is in the leader's report.
I was just going to say thank you, Liz, for explaining it to me. I didn't realise, and I don't think they realised either, but thank you.
Councillor King. No, sorry, Councillor. You've spoken. Councillor Knowles, please, to respond.
So I'm responding now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I'm delighted to see with some more psychic events, somebody telling me that what I'm doing, I don't realise things that are in the public interest. Well, I very much want to do things in the public interest. Let's start and go through the replies. Councillor Nunn, on the meeting with regard to the liaison meeting for the parishes, I want to just cover that because the officers have come forward with this potential opportunity, because obviously we know we're under stress with officer numbers. So the opportunity has been put forward for us to facilitate this using a third party. The meeting will still be chaired by officers of members of this authority, but we definitely will be, I believe, a substantial saving to the council from the opportunity for either having to pay a full-time officer to facilitate it or using this third-party organisation who can do it for lower cost. But I am happy, and in fact, I would encourage the officers to share that information with members so that members can see it at first hand, because I very much want to make sure that officers share the details and you can see the financial information that I've been given. I have no issue with that at all. With regard to the car parking charges, I understand that the reason for the car parking tickets having to be issued is a technical aspect to do with the machinery. You have to get a ticket. There's no way of just giving a blank ticket. You've still got to have a ticket out there that says, you know, you're free parking, because otherwise that leads on then to the situation where you've got the 4 hours which are free on the short stays. So if they don't do that, there's no way of monitoring it. But it will in effect mean that with the 4-hour package there, and the free all day on the other car parks, the major ones where you can park all day, for the whole of those weekends, you'll have free parking. As for the 10 pence extra on an app, I have no idea about that. But what I would ask the officers to do is if we could look at that, find out if that's correct, because if people are getting charged extra, then I'd certainly like to know why. And I'd like that information to be shared with all members, so all members have the same information that I have. Councillor James, you'd like a copy of the Severn Trent letter. As I said in the report, a copy of the letter is going to be sent to all members. So all members will get a copy of that so you can see again exactly what's happening. Councillor Bannister, I will say this to you. If you want to talk to me after the meeting about Fielding Palmer or any other subject, I'm very happy to do what I can to help you and assist you. But I'm being governed by the rules as well, and I have to follow. I know that the Constitution, for example, is not actually on the agenda, and that's been mentioned, but obviously that's been advice that we're getting from our officers, but I'm very open to meeting with you and do what I can to help. Councillor King, public engagement has scrapped off. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'll start off straight away by saying to you, we're going to be doing more of this. There will be a schedule. We're working on it at the moment. And certainly my intention is to encourage the ward members and the parish members to be there. And it is a public meeting. And with all public meetings, there won't be any need to register if you want to come in or RSVP. It will be a case of please turn up and get involved. Surplus funds, well, again, I'm very happy for the officers to share that so you can see what the details are on the funding and all the information that's led us, because obviously one of the prime reasons is that we want to try and assist the traders who spoke to me about this initially, and also the members of the public, because obviously over those 4 weekends in the build up to Christmas, if people have got the opportunity to come along and not pay for parking, that is hopefully some help to them. And so the whole thing with the public engagement, scrapped off was the first one. The next one we intend to be doing is over at Lutterworth. Details of that will follow. We're hoping to do that in January. And then from there, we'll work out the whole programme. It will be myself as leader of the council with the support of cabinet members. That's the intention, to be there to meet, greet and listen to what members of the public have got to say and to engage with them. I don't think it's been done before. We're certainly going to do it. And we will be encouraging at the parish meeting people to come forward and say to us, we'd like you to come to us. Is there a chance? And we'll build the schedule up from there. But to repeat, ward members of all political persuasions will be advised and invited. I think that's covered everything, Chairman. I don't think there's anything else. So on that, I'll return the meeting to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, we now move to item 6 on your agenda, which is to answer written questions from the public and receive public petitions. We've received a question from Mr. Campbell Kelly, and that has been tabled tonight. I now invite Mr. Campbell Kelly to come to the lectern and ask his question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The item I wanted to ask a question about was item 11 and is now item 7, which is the Statement of Common Ground, which of course members have already agreed to defer. I would no?
We've changed the agenda.
Oh, fine. In that case, I'll ask my question. This question was obviously submitted before the MP's public meeting on Friday, 3rd of November. I wasn't going to read the next 2 paragraphs because I think members will know who I am. But given that we've got 30 odd people in the public gallery, I will take this opportunity to read those next 2 paragraphs. Members will recall Willoughby Waterleys Residents Association asking a question at the last meeting regarding this item. For the record, my name is David Campbell Kelly, a resident for more than 30 years of Willoughby Waterleys, located in Dunton Ward. I am chair of the Willoughby Waterleys Residents Association, and this question is submitted by the association on behalf of its members, who remain to be the vast majority of the residents of our village. Our residents have been monitoring the progression of strategic planning in the county since the approval of the Leicestershire Strategic Growth Plan and formed our association in 2018 as a result. In particular, we are concerned that unsustainable development is being progressed by the authorities in the county, and we have positively engaged in all relevant consultations. We've also made substantive and credible suggestions for an alternative solution to the problem of future strategic development within the county. And despite frequent and even recent requests, and yes, 6 weeks later, still not had any response or any feedback about why our alternative spatial strategy that we have proposed has been dismissed, or that has even been considered by officers or any of the authorities in the county. At the last meeting, we raised 2 concerns over the approval by you of the Statement of Common Ground. Firstly, that the draft Leicester City local plan was not sound and could not be relied upon for calculating the level of unmet housing need. The second concern related to 2 unissued fundamental reports which you as an authority had previously expected to be issued before approving this statement of common ground. Both of these points are still valid and relevant, despite the dismissive reply we received last month. At the meeting last month, I asked a supplemental question, and that reply, which hopefully you will have seen, was belatedly added to the agenda papers for last month. Again, that reply failed to offer any real explanation why the two missing reports are not now relevant to the signing of the Statement of Common Ground, when they were relevant to you in 2021. It is obvious that officers' advice continues to be to submit the local plan for submission by June 2025. I will refer to why there is no need to do this shortly and the associated risks. But firstly, how realistic and how deliverable is that date? The local plan preparation timetable is set out in the last local development scheme document, which was approved by Cabinet on the 4th of July 2022. It is interesting to note that National Planning Policy Guidance expects an annual review of this document. You are already 4 months late in carrying this out. The programme in your current LDS states that the Regulation 18 local plan should have already been issued for public consultation by now. The programme then shows, following that consultation, a Regulation 19 plan would be available for public consultation by January 2025, and the Regulation 22 submission to the Planning Inspectorate would be made by June 2025. Given that the local plan needs to be informed by the yet to be published Strategic Transport Assessment and the Options Mapping Report, we are presumably still several months away from the first Regulation 18 public consultation. If this is issued optimistically by the end of February 24, there would be just 16 months to submit the plan for examination. How does that compare with other authorities? Well, your last plan through these stages took 33 months. And just to be clear what I mean by these stages, that is the issue of the Regulation 18 plan for consultation through to submission to the Planning Inspectorate. And that is what you're saying you would do by June 25. There are also recent and relevant comparisons in other authorities in the county. Leicester City took 42 months. They submitted theirs in September this year. Charnwood took around 60 months. Melton, 46 months. Oadby and Wigston have just changed their LDS from 30 to 43 months. Blaby are already at 33 months and have not even issued a Regulation 19 plan for public consultation. Why then do our officers believe that the incomparable timetable of just 16 months is attainable? It's important to understand why this matters. A local plan submitted by June 25 requires an authority to demonstrate that the duty to cooperate has been complied with. This is evidenced, amongst other things, by the signing of the Statement of Common Ground. The district's MPs have been maintaining that the duty to cooperate does not apply, and therefore there is no requirement to sign the Statement of Common Ground. They are correct if the plan is not submitted by June 25. We maintain that the submission of the plan by June 25, given all the relevant evidence from your last experience and the other authorities I've mentioned, is next to impossible. All the more so if the plan is to be found to be sound. If the date is unachieved, the plan submission will not have had to comply with the duty to cooperate, and consequently, the Statement of Common Ground does not need to be signed at this time. It should also be recognised that proposed national planning policy changes expect to abolish the need for a 5-year housing land supply. We accept that in the future, Harbour's 5-year supply will be challenged by any delay in delivery of the strategic development areas of East Lutterworth and Scraptoft. We believe it is this concern that is driving over-optimistic and unrealistic timetable for the plan submission by officers. It is our contention that there is a real risk of the worst of all worlds here. That is, aiming for a submission by June 25, therefore signing the Statement of Common Ground now, missing the deadline, and then being burdened by the increased housing provision, together with yet as unknown further requirements from planning changes and/or a change of central government. WWRA firmly believes that the Statement of Common Ground should not be signed, pending the 2 reports being issued, and which will be required in the preparation of the new local plan. You as an authority should in any event stand by your 2021 approval that the city's unmet need should only be accepted when all the 4 pieces of evidence have been issued and their implications fully understood. Our question then is this: will officers please explain their reasons fully for the indecent haste of submitting the local plan for examination by June 25 and explain how this previously locally unmatched timetable will be delivered?
Thank you, Mr. Campbell Kelly. Now, you have someone who's going to respond to you, and it's Councillor Galton.
It is, Chairman. Thank you very much. Thank Mr. Campbell Kelly for his very detailed introduction to his question. You have received a written reply this evening, and all members have got a copy of that. It's been circulated. So really, I'd like to ask you if you have any supplementary. I would, if you've not already seen it, I'm sure the officers can provide you with a copy, really relevant to the issues you're raising. I would encourage you to get hold of a copy of the Council's opinion, because it addresses many of the issues that you've raised tonight. But if you have a supplementary, I'm more than happy to take it.
Sorry, this is my supplemental question. Can I just be clear? That's a Council's opinion in addition to the planning consultant's advice you take?
Councillor Galton.
You asking that as a supplementary?
That's not my supplemental question. I'm just genuinely interested.
Take advice.
It's not my question. If you're not going to let me ask another question.
It's not the question, and
it's a reasonable question, surely.
we are here to provide an answer to your
Right,
first
that's my
question.
supplemental question,
Yes,
please.
thank you.
Members, you are likely aware of the recent public meeting held last Friday, which drew a huge crowd of over 200 Harbour residents, some of which I'm pleased to see are here. During this meeting, it became abundantly clear that the vast majority of attendees did not support the approval of the Statement of Common Ground. Our local MPs at the meeting presented a letter from the Minister of Housing and Planning dated November the 3rd, 23. The leader of the council stated that he would seek immediate advice on the implications of the letter. Given the letter's significant importance and potential impact on our district, we hope that there has been enough time to review its contents. If not, we strongly urge consideration of postponing the decision regarding the approval of the Statement of Common Ground until that is complete. It's now recognised by many that there is no strict requirement to submit a local plan for examination by June 25. It's a matter of choice. As I mentioned in my previous question, the time frame is extremely tight and, in our opinion, unlikely to be met, even with the addition of extra funding for the planning department. Consequently, the duty to cooperate would not be applicable if submitted for examination after June 25, and the signing of the Statement of Common Ground now would not be necessary.
Mr. Campbell Kelly, can you come to the question?
I'm coming to it, yep, I'm coming to it. The Minister's letter outlines the completion of a recent consultation.
Point of order, please, Chairman.
Mr. Graves.
I would be also grateful to hear the question, please. Thank you.
I'm getting to the question in one more sentence. The letter received from the Minister assures protection against speculative development, regardless of the chosen option, even if it means delaying the local plan submission. This protection lasts 30 months. Our question is twofold. Will members consider deferring the decision if advice is not yet clear? If it is clear, is it now understood that the duty to cooperate does not apply and thus the statement of common ground does not need to be signed? If not, what have we misunderstood? And really, these questions need answering in this debate, not in some note 4 weeks later.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell-Kelly. So on point one, I would invite you to stick around and hear the debate, which you obviously address you there. On point two, I will ensure that you receive a written response to the additional matters you've raised. It is a fast-moving agenda with new information being tabled all the time, so we will ensure you receive a supplementary answer.
Thank you.
Right, councillors, we now move into the agenda to the old number 7. The old number 11, which now becomes number 7. And this is the debate on Harborough Local Plan, Leicestershire Statement of Common Ground relating to housing and employment land needs. Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Well, I attended the meeting on Friday night, and the 3 MPs presented a letter from the Housing Minister. The letter was dated, as we've heard, on Friday. The copy that was sent into the council here, I think, was sent in at 10 to 6 on Friday night. I got a paper copy when I arrived at the meeting. And as Miss Kern said to me, I think she'd only seen it at about 5 o'clock or a little after 5 o'clock, and she had a copy put into her hands as well. And I made a statement at that meeting. I said that obviously we want to give adequate and full weight to all information and give consideration to everything. And we've also acquired, which I think is important, because I want to make sure that we've done this absolutely and checked everything, quite a lengthy council's advice. Now that council's advice only arrived very, very late this afternoon with councillors. Our officers obviously got it in their hands only a short time earlier, had to put it all together and then get it out to the members. Now, to me, that does not leave members of this authority with adequate time to consider this. This is a very important issue. I keep saying all the time that we have not made up our minds as a council, that we're still gathering evidence, and we are. And the bottom line is very simple on this. This afternoon, as soon as I had this information, I spoke with the Leader of the Opposition, with Councillor Bateman, and I suggested to him that what I was going to do this evening was move a deferment of this item, and that this deferment would be to enable several things. First of all, for the members to have the opportunity to look in detail at the council's information, for the members to have a look in detail at the information submitted by Mr O'Brien from the Minister, and so that we could be sure that also members had the opportunity to question the officers, gather any other information in. To do it any other way, I would see as rushing it. I don't think it's fair on the councillors. I certainly don't think it's fair on the people of the community, the district of Harborough, to rush this through. We have to look at this and examine everything that's put before us. So what I have suggested to our officers, well, in fact, it's what I'm going to do. I am going to move a deferment to this item, Madam Chairman, without debate through to the meeting in December, so that all members have adequate time to look at all of this information, to review it. And I can say that I spoke to Councillor Bateman. He was fully supportive of this, and I invited him to actually ask one of the members of his party to second this, and I believe that Councillor Bannister is going to do just that. And that will afford our members the opportunity to do, as I've just said, ask the questions. But importantly, for me, it will also mean that members of the community can see copies of this. Because what we've done, and I'm sure this will be quite interesting, is this is available for you to read as well. This is not something that, as would be the norm, is just for members of the council. This council's advice, you will be able to see it, you will be able to read it, you will be able to ask questions of your members and have points raised. And I would encourage you, if there's any questions you have, please either contact me or contact your ward members and put forward your questions. So that's where we are, Madam Chairman. I want to formally move that this item stands deferred to the full council meeting in December 2023 for debate and decision. And I would suggest, and I put this on record, that we also want to do one thing. If there's any more information that needs to come in, we would suggest that we put a deadline on that of 5 days before. If there's any more information that is in with us 5 days before the December meeting, so that anything that we need to look at, we can do. So I would formally move that deferment, Madam Chairman, through to December 2023.
Yes. Councillor King, do you mean 5 working days? Councillor Knowles, so sorry.
That was a good try, Madam Chairman. I
shall really have to stop doing this.
Yeah, well, that's your Christmas card list again. Back on it, Councillor King. Yes. I formally move the deferment, Madam Chairman.
5 working days?
5 working days.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Bannister, thank you. Thank
you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Leader, for proposing the deferment to full council on the 11th of December, as I understand, when we are next scheduled to meet. It is only right that we have the time to consider carefully the Minister's correspondence together with the Council's opinion that has only just been delivered and tabled at the very start of this meeting. I also hope that those 2 outstanding reports that have been long promised and are long overdue can also be made available, those being the Strategic Growth Options and Constraints Mapping Report and the Strategic Transport Assessment. That is what all of the local authorities in Leicester and Leicestershire had asked for way back in 2021. As I say, there's been promises of those reports being delivered, and indeed in the agenda pack when we met in September, there was an indication those reports should be available by the end of this year. Well, the 11th of December is almost the end of this year, so I really do hope those 2 reports will also be available and that the appropriate officers will make every effort to ensure the delivery of those reports for the meeting. So for those reasons, I'm very happy to support the proposal of the Leader, and I formally second the proposal that we defer this agenda item until the 11th of December this year. Thank you.
Thank you. I should add that I understand that the latest items are going to be updated to the Council's website tomorrow morning. So they'll be available for the public to read at that point. Sorry, okay. Right, we're going to go to the vote then. So all those in favour, yes, Councillor King.
Point of information, Chair. It's really, I know we're not debating this, but it's really just a query. So when we go to the 11th of December, it's scheduled to that meeting to take a report on Regulation 18, I believe. So how is it proposed that we take this report and, just for the sake of argument, say it did get approved? Then how do we, and if it didn't get approved, how do we then do the Regulation 18 report? I'm just wondering if officers can give some guidance or advice about that.
Yes.
Thank you. Before we vote, thank you.
Refer to Liz Elliott for that.
Okay, Councillor King, I'm told that the Reg 18 and the Statement of Common Ground signing are not codependent, and so they could be taken at the same time. Thank you.
Right, we're going for the vote now. Those in favour of the deferral? That is unanimous. Thank you very much, Council. Yes, we now move on to report 8, which is report from the Cabinet. Yes.
Madam Chairman, the report is in front of you, and I move it accordingly and happily will help with any information that I can.
So, we just tell them to wait. We'll just wait till the public gallery is clear. Just one moment. I don't know. I wish they wouldn't smile at me. I know her name. Jeez. Knowles.
Well, just to repeat, Madam Chairman, the report is tabled. I'm happy to move it and obviously help in any way I can with any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Graves.
Yes, I'd just like to second that report. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Anyone want to speak? No? No. Okay. We move on to item 9 then, which is a report on committees. Who's presenting? Councillor Knowles, are you reporting on this?
Report on committees, which I think is what I've got down as item 8 on my agenda, Madam Chairman, that I was sent through.
Statement
So that now becomes item 9, of course, yeah. Again, Madam Chairman, happy to move and to help in any way I can.
Thank you. Anyone want to speak? Councillor Graves, yeah.
I'd like to second the report, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Hallam?
It's really more of a comment that as Scrutiny Commissioner, just to remind everybody that there is scrutiny training on the 14th of November, and it was cancelled before because of difficulties with the consultant, I believe. And I would urge everybody, could I just check, is this a hybrid meeting or is it in here?
Online only.
Online only. Well, I would urge members to be online if they can possibly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I have a show of hands then for receiving this report? Thank you. That's fine. So that's carried. On to item 10, report on joint arrangements. Councillor Knowles.
Yeah, the report is there, Chairman. It's all detailed. So again, if there's any information that we can help with, we'll be more than happy so to do.
Yeah. Thank you. Do we have seconded, Councillor Groves?
Yes, seconding. Thank you.
Thank you. And any questions on that? No. Okay. That is carried. Oh, we need a show of hands. Sorry. Yes, thank you. That's carried. Thank you. Item 11, appointment to the statutory monitoring officer role. Councillor Knowles.
Yeah, I think the report is quite detailed, Madam Chairman, and the reasoning behind it is well explained. So this is obviously put to the council for approval this evening. I think it's one of these one of these situations that obviously once the new chief executive is in, the new chief executive will have his own ideas as to how he wants to suggest structuring, etc. So this is detailed as an interim post for the time being, but it is there and it is well detailed. So I'm happy to move that, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Seconder for that, Councillor Galton.
Happy to second the proposal to appoint an action officer.
Thank you. Any comments? No. Can I have a show of hands for accepting this report? Thank you. That's passed. Thank you. Moving on now to number 12, updating report on the membership of committees and cabinet. Councillor Knowles, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. We had a little bit of a mix-up by the sound of it. I think that's the polite way of putting it. Where on the scrutiny commission, we ended up with the greatest respect to the commissioner, more Conservatives than we should have done, and less coalition members than we should have done. In fact, we ended up with, instead of 4 Conservatives, including the chairman or commissioner, we ended up with 4 Conservatives plus the chairman and commissioner. And instead of there being 6 coalition members, we ended up with 5. So the whole thing got slightly messed up, because then when we were voting and all sorts of things going on, effectively, the numbers weren't correct. It hadn't been put together correctly. Now, I will just put on record my thanks to the officers for a very fulsome, apology on this, for not spotting it earlier, and for the very swift actions for putting it right. So what I want to move this evening is very simply that, as agreed, Councillor Rickman be removed from the committee, sorry, Councillor Rickman, and replaced. I'm not on it, I don't have to worry, Michael. Councillor Rickman will be removed from the committee and will be replaced by Councillor Finnan, who will take over on there. So that will then mean that the committee is then correctly constituted as 6 coalition and 4 members of the Conservatives, including, and I say that very clearly, including the Commissioner. And I hope that over the coming months we're going to see some very productive and very informative sessions of scrutiny, because I know that our 2 scrutiny chairs are extremely keen to have the opportunity to work with the Commissioner to develop scrutiny and to actually get a very good work plan going forward and all these sorts of things. So I think it is important. So on that, Madam Chairman, I formally move, as I've said, that renumbering.
Thank you, Councillor Knowles. Do we have a seconder for this? Councillor Graves.
I'll second that. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Can we have, is there any questions? Yes, Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for that. Thank you, Councillor Knowles, for explaining the report. It is pretty straightforward, but I've got 3 points I want to raise about the report that are in the report. The first off is in the report, paragraph 4.4, it says that there'll be an independent remuneration panel convened at some point. It doesn't say when, it just says it'll be done before the April 2025. I'd just be very grateful if you could provide councillors with a schedule of when that remuneration panel is going to be convened and when the opportunity for members to be involved in that. As you'll recall, members have been involved in that and been able to provide evidence and speak to the panel. So it'd be helpful if we had advance notice of that, if you can, get that sorted. The second thing I wanted to just query about was in your report, it doesn't mention anything about a deputy leader. And I'm just wondering, have you decided that you're not going to appoint a deputy leader, or is this something you're still thinking about? Because obviously it's not covered in this report. It's just something, I appreciate you may not have to appoint one, but it does seem, and I don't wish you any harm, Councillor Knowles, to be very clear, but if something did unfortunately happen to you, then what happens to the governance and leadership of the council? It's very important, a very serious point. And being the previous leader and the leaders for the last, and even your previous incumbent leader, Councillor Dalton, who sat next to you, I'm pretty sure when he was the leader of the council, he had a deputy leader. So I'm just curious if maybe you can just explain, or if you can't at the moment, maybe later, but I just want to be clear, understand that. And the third point I had, just bear with me, Chair, was, sorry, I've just lost that one. No, that was it. Sorry, I was only 2. Thank you very much.
Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Right, with regards to the remuneration panel, I'll have a word with the officers tomorrow morning, and then we'll get something out to members to give you some information on that as soon as we can. And with regards to the deputy leadership, no, we don't have a deputy leader. I have a highly competent cabinet and an excellent coordinator within the coalition. And I think if I met with the proverbial London buzz at 11:30 tonight, I'm sure they would sort something out very quickly to make sure that this council was well cared for. But at the moment, there are no plans to actually have a deputy leader.
Thank you, Councillor Knowles. So we need a vote on this. So can I have a show of hands then for acceptance? You want to count them? Is it? Yes. Yes, there is a majority vote there. Thank you, councillors. Okay. Number 13, moving to number 13, do we have any other business? No, we have no other business. So I declare the meeting closed at 19:43. Yes, just a reminder to keep your statement of common ground papers, please, to save paper for the meeting in December. Thank you. Thank you.